Hello and welcome to Albert Recaps Z Nation for Season 2, Episode 15, All Good Things Must Come to an End. And oh boy, is that title a lie because we got renewed for Season 3! Hubba, 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 coming back for Season 3. More awesome zombie goodness is going to happen. We can't talk about that yet, though. We're going to talk about this episode of Z Nation, starting off where we left off in the last episode with Warren and Vasquez in the diner with a lady who we now learn is called Auntie, hiding a rather large weapon of some kind, of the shotgun variety, behind the counter, having them fooled. It was a little bit of a misdirect at the very end of the last episode, because it's not like she starts blasting them or anything. She's just being cautious. They give the go-ahead to the rest of the people outside. Everybody comes in. Murphy gets all covered up so we can't see his blue skin, because now that's a problem, apparently. After him just walking around without any issues for this long, apparently now he wants to not get shot. Then I think they cover it a little bit. They're like, all right, I don't want to get to the very finish line and then have something bad happen. So they all kind of get settled in. They talk a little bit with Auntie, but before they can really sort of find out what's going on, a couple of other bounty hunters come into the restaurant, and they've got a guy who is all painted up in blue, and they are coming to collect the bounty for the Murphy. Which is a great, I don't know, it's just an awesome setup. There's a lot of tension in this scene where it's one of those Western style standoffs where nobody's got their guns out and pointing at each other yet, but you just know things are probably going to go south, and they're looking at sideways at our guys, and our guys are looking sideways at theirs, and it's one of those situations where they're suspicious of the Z Nation crowd, and the Z Nation guys are like, you don't got the Murphy, that's a zombie that you painted blue, and apparently gave it tranquilizers to, and that apparently works on zombies now, which I should not be surprised because we saw them get affected by pharmaceuticals last season. But it's just this great sort of tension-building time, and then finally it builds up to where the guy actually notices that Murphy is controlling the zombie, because Murphy, in the middle of this sort of halfway standoff that isn't quite a standoff yet, starts messing around with the zombie. He's like, I can make him move his hand, and the guy actually tosses something to Murphy, and Murphy catches it, and the guy watches the zombie catch it, which is really smart for some supposedly dumb bounty hunters. And so they reveal him, and they're like, oh, you're the real deal, man. You're not some faked out zombie. You are the Murphy. You can actually control the zombie. So then the guns come out. Then everybody's pointing guns. Then it escalates. Auntie's got her gun out, finally. And it's then we're in another stalemate where everybody's pointed guns at everybody else. What do we don't want to get shot. We don't want your guys to get shot. We want your guy. What are we doing? And the leader of the bounty hunters, while he seemed smart to begin with, then did an incredibly stupid thing and turned his back on the zombie that he just saw Murphy could control. And there's this great buildup because it's going to happen, right? Murphy can control the zombie. If you didn't know that before you watched this episode, they just demonstrated it to you. And then the zombie's behind the guy with the gun, holding the gun to Murphy's head. Obviously, the zombie's going to get him, but you still have this long, what's going to happen? And, of course, Murphy does control the zombie. Everybody shoots everybody. And in the crossfire, 10K gets hit. I think this is when he gets hit. It might be later. Because more stuff happens after the shootout happens there, and Auntie reveals that, oh, actually, I am not just running a diner. I do have contacts with the CDC. She goes out, shoots off a flare, and the submarine rises up out of the water, and they're like, what's that? She's like, well, that's what's left of the CDC. They're hanging out here, and they've been waiting for the Murphy, so let's go get him. But before they can get him on the ship, the zeros appear. I think it's before. I might be getting my timeline confused. I think I'm getting my timeline confused. Shut up, Albert. You don't know what you're talking about. The zeros haven't showed up yet. First, the guys come in, and they're like, oh, what? We got Murphy. We got 10K. We'll take care of him. We'll give him surgery. Dr. Murch shows up finally. She's man, from like way back in season 1, they got the actress back. I was a little bit surprised, just because it's been so long and actors, schedules and stuff, sometimes it's difficult. It's not like she's too good for the show or anything. I'm just saying it can be tricky to be able to schedule somebody in for only a couple appearances, but you can see where the script could have gone either way. They could have had some other character play her part or said, oh, she got killed. But she does show up and she's like, hey, yeah, you're going to make the serum. And Murphy has a great sequence. I mean, this might be Keith Allen, the guy who plays Murphy. This might be his strongest episode in a long line of really strong Murphy episodes where he kind of comes to grips with his destiny. He's like, all right, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be the savior of mankind. That's not what I'm interested in, but I'll put aside what I want and I'll do what the right thing is. I'll go with these people. They'll help 10K out too. It'll all be good. The zombie problem will be over somehow. This is great. I mean, he doesn't think it's great, but he gets a long, tearful goodbye. I saw some people complaining about, like, 10K's dying here. Hurry it up. Listen, it's drama, okay? You gotta pay off that he's been with these people for so long. Logic is less important than doing the right thing for the story. And the right thing for the story is give us some resolution here. Give us a sense that this is finally over, that he is finally coming to his destiny as this person who's supposed to save all of humanity with his zombie blood, half zombie blood, whatever. And he goes off to the submarine. Then the Zeros show up, and things get bad for our crew. Which, as I mentioned last season, I had forgotten that they were immune to the zombies. I've forgotten that they got that injection and that actually made them immune to zombie bites. And so we have a really great sort of, shootout standoff sequence between La Muerte, Queen of the Dead lady, and, the Z Nation gang who hang up, whatever's left of them, who hole up in the diner with Auntie. And La Muerte does a really interesting tactic where they start off shooting. They're, kind of an extended gunfight where they're behind these trucks getting shot at, and then they eventually get inside. But once they're inside, she has a really cool tactic where she has some of her guys skewer the guys that are in front of them with machetes and, push them forward as literal zombified human shields. I thought that was an interesting tactic to use, although hopefully it doesn't, if you try this in the zombie apocalypse, maybe it backfires and they can twist around and bite you, but it just was something interesting that we hadn't really seen before, and I thought that was neat, that we saw her being smart, first of all, as a leader. She also still has Dr. Curian's head in a box now, and somehow he's been leading her to these people. I don't know how. Maybe because he used to be with the CDC and he knew that this was a secret location where they would park their submarine. But regardless, he did get them there. And so we have a pretty long, prolonged sequence where they're fighting off the Zeros. And eventually they do win. Auntie gets bit and turns. And of course she has to be put down. But basically everybody's okay. Addie has a really close call at one point where she's fighting a guy who's got this giant, skull-like staff thing. It's obviously really heavy, and she ends up going up against him with the Z-Whacker. The Z-Whacker gets busted, and I was like, oh no. Because I kind of, in my head, I was like, if anybody dies here, if anybody's expendable as a character right now, in my mind, it might be Addie. Just because I don't think they've done very much with her over the season, other than just sort of have her be, action girl. She's kind of in charge with Warren, but we already have Warren to be in charge, so she's a little bit redundant, a little bit not really vital to the group. But when the guy came up after her with the staff, even though I just said, if we're going to lose somebody, it'll probably be Addie. Even though I just said that, I was like, oh no, not Addie! And she actually made it out. She survives, forgetting the sequence of how it goes down. It's been long couple days since we watched the episode. I'm terribly sorry for my scatterbrainness, but she does survive. I think somebody shoots the zombie as it's about to get her, and I want to say that it's a Scorpion who, if whether or not it's him or not, holy crap, a Scorpion is back, y'all. I was sure that dude was dead. I mean, he had to be dead, right? He was stuck down in the tunnel with those zombies. He had to be, but no, he comes in, he cleans house, he takes out La Muerta, he takes out La Muerta's men, and, you know, with some help, obviously, and he's there, like, and he looks different, and he's acting different, and you're like, what is going on here? He seems like he's literally cleaned himself up, and he goes to Vasquez and he apologizes. He says to Vasquez, you know, when I was down there with the zombies and I thought about all the stuff that I'd done and I thought about what I did to you and to your wife, like, it all kind of flashed in front of me and I realized what kind of person I was, and I'm here to ask your forgiveness, and if you want to shoot me, shoot me. And that was like, that blew my mind. Just like, I couldn't, I believe him, by the way. I want this to be a real thing. Because it's just cheap if it's not. It excited me so much, the idea that you'd have a character, you almost never see this. I mean, you kind of see it, you know, like in Star Wars when Darth Vader finally turns back to the good and he's like, oh, but he just dies right after that. Like this guy, no. As far as we know, I mean, at the end of the episode, he's still alive. As far as we know, he's going to join with the main group, and he's got so much, you know, baggage with them and so much grief that he's caused them, specifically Vasquez, but also to them in general. And, you know, he's been this looming bad guy for the whole season, which he's been great as the bad guy. And now to have him turn and be, you know, say, hey, listen, I've had a change of heart. While it's a little bit sudden for me, I feel like it's kind of out of left field as far as build up to it. The idea of having a character like this now being part of the team who used to be a bitter enemy of theirs, that I don't know, it's exciting. It's exciting to have him have this change of heart and have changed the dynamic of the show like that. So now we can have this conflict between him and Vasquez, hopefully, if we take advantage of that in season 3. But the hypotheticals for that just make me so excited. And, you know, the team leaves Vasquez and Scorpion in the restaurant together, and they say, all right, you guys work it out. Like, Vasquez, if you're going to shoot him, but we ain't, you know, we're not weighing in one way or the other. And Vasquez does eventually say, okay, I'll maybe not necessarily forgiving him, but if he's going to ask for my forgiveness, I won't kill him in cold blood. I'm not just going to gun him down. And they apparently sort of get together with a Scorpion. Now, what I've glossed over a little bit is while this is going on, Citizen Z has been trying to contact the our main group with his last remaining radio battery, telling them, hey, the location's been compromised, it's not okay, don't go there. And he doesn't get the message through. Nobody picks up on that. And he's gone, like all of his communications equipment is gone now. This is his last chance. You know, he throws his battery in the fire and burns the last walkie-talkie he has. And then him and Pup ride out into the snow. And that was a little bit of a scary moment because I was like, man, I know that DJ Qualis is, you know, working over on Man in the High Tower right now. What if they're going to write him out of the show? Let's talk about that in a little bit. But also in the intervening time, we see what's happening with Murphy and 10K. They get 10K on a bed. They're operating on him. Can reasonably assume he's going to be okay because it would be dumb to just have him die from infection at this point. But Murphy gets taken to a place where, you know, he's on the bridge of the sub. He's talking with them. They're asking him questions, and he sees the guys that are working on the sub have glowing white eyes. Like the pupils are glowing white, which we kind of saw with the nuclear zombies. We kind of saw with some of the special zombies. And they he asks about it, and they say, oh, well, that's a side effect of the initial vaccine that we have developed that is not, it kind of keeps the zombie thing from turning you, but it doesn't work 100%, which is why we need your blood. So those guys are, you know, I guess in the process of really slowly turning, or that's just what they look like until they get bit and then they really slowly turn. That wasn't 100% clear to me, but anyway, he gets taken down and Dr. Kurian starts asking him some questions among he's very cagey about answering these, but among which was, do you have any children? And he just kind of like skirts right around that. He says, no, I don't have any kids. Okay. Keeping Lucy a secret from the people here. And as we're going along, he learns, and we learn, that these people are working for an organization called Zona, which had been brought up in the Roswell episode, where the crazy test pilot had said he was working for somebody called Zona, and it was something that kind of just went by as like, all right, yeah, I'm working for Zona, like, I don't know what that is, and they dismissed it. They're like, you're just a crazy person, because he kind of was. But now we get the revelation that yes, Zona's a real thing. It's a sort of a conclave of important / rich people who have all fled to Hawaii, which I guess is the best, most defensible zombie place that you can have, assuming that these zombies aren't really good at walking underwater for very long. Because, the population there, I assume once you can put, it's not many hundreds of millions, I don't think, in Hawaii, so probably putting down the people who have turned into zombies is fairly simple compared to a larger area of land, and then once you have it cleared, you don't have to worry so much about zombies sneaking up on you. But Murphy hears this, and he's like, I'm not in favor of this. I am not gonna be the savior of the 1%, basically, the 0.1% that got to flee and make it to their private island in Hawaii where they could be safe. No, that is not what I signed up for. I signed up for to be the savior of humanity. That ain't humanity. And so we don't actually see it happen, but you can put piece together, he bites Dr. Kurian and the commander of the sub and takes over. And we cut to 10K kind of waking up on his bed from the surgery, and everything's just going crazy. The lights are flashing red, and there's like smoke going, and he's like, what is going on? And that's all that we get of him from his perspective. But we cut to the gang now. Vasquez splits and does his own thing, which I thought was interesting because we're setting him up to be at least a lone wolf for a little while at the beginning of season 3. But the rest of them, Warren and Addie and Doc, all team up with a Scorpion, and he drives them down to the beach in his big old pickup truck, and they watch with the binoculars and see that the boat is on fire because Murphy apparently used his Murphy juice powers to bring the whole thing down, and it's sinking. And then we see him driving away in a nice little inflatable boat, and the whole sub just explodes behind him. And then they realize that 10K's not on the boat, and then they get surrounded by some soldiers that are not, who knows where they're from, but it looks like they're from China or something. And then the episode ends. Oh, and Citizen Z, it's halfway frozen in the snow, and he's just you think he's almost a statue, but he's kind of still halfway alive, barely twitching, and he sees somebody coming towards him through the thick snow, and you're like, who's that? And then it cuts away, and that's the end of the episode. And I gotta say, I loved it. I loved this season ending. It was so much. I liked the season ending of season 1 a lot because it was just this cool, visceral, wow, nukes are launching and everything, and everybody's in peril. And that was a lot of fun, but this is almost more fun because it deals directly, it sets things up specifically for season 2. It sets up okay, well, where's 10K? Because he's not dead, alright? I don't buy, you don't kill a character like 10K off screen in an explosion in a sinking sub. That's just not going to happen. You don't show him waking up and realizing that the sub is going down and then cut away to 5 minutes later when the sub explodes. 10K got off that sub or got on a mini sub or something. That's just not, that's sloppy writing. It's sloppy writing to get to the beginning of season 1 and be like, yeah, or season 3. Yeah, he's dead. You guys thought it all however long the year was until we brought up back season 3, but yeah, you're right. He actually was dead. Not doing that. I don't buy that for a second. 10K has to be alive, but it does set up okay, well, now he's on his own. What happens there? Vasquez is off on his own. Does he meet up with 10K? What happens there? Now Citizen Z is maybe getting rescued by some dude. What happens there? There are so many balls that they put in the air to actual questions to be answered. I hope that they do a little bit better job. It seemed like season 1 to 2 kind of really rushed, like, all right, blah, 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 just started off, everything's okay with the nukes, and now moving forward with the plot. I really want this to spin into something that'll go forward, and the idea of asking all these questions and having the opportunity to answer them in season 3 is really exciting. I'm a little bit, the one thing I'm a little bit concerned for season 3 is that they're gonna try again with the Murphy is the cure and we're gonna get him somewhere plot. Because I don't want that. I really don't. Like, we've 2 strikes, and that's not how you play baseball, but you're out. Okay? We've had 2 whole seasons of that. Let something else happen that drives us around the country for some reason, please. For the love of God. Like, let some other motivation be the thing, because Murphy now has to have progressed to the point where he's willing to try something else. I mean, he took down an entire sub with his Murphy juice powers. He needs to be taking charge more at this point, and I really, really want to see that. And I would like to see a dynamic. I'd like to see some splitting up. I'd like to see Murphy maybe trying to go off on his own and having like we saw at the beginning of season 2, this season, he does, and he goes off and he has his little fun with the zombies. I want to see him try to make a difference now. Like, actually do something and not be for himself. Decide that he's going to do something with the zombies to save them or to make something better. I don't know. I just want a shift, because if we're just taking him somewhere else with everybody all together again, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to keep watching because I like the show and it's pretty well written, but I think that there is room for more to do than just that. So if you're listening, writers of Z Nation, please move on. All right, let Murphy develop into something else, do something else, give us a different objective or something, but I don't know. There's a lot of potential there for new things to happen, and I'm really, really excited to see exactly how that goes down. I'm excited to see how 10K got out. I'd really, looking forward to whatever flashback they give, although it's probably just like him crawling. If I know Z Nation, it's just him crawling up on the beach and being like, "Woo, I'm glad I made it out of there," and then like some zombie climbing up after him and he like hits it in the head with a rock and like runs off. If I know my Z Nation, that's what happens, but it would still be neat to kind of flashback and see how he escapes. Finally, we get Citizen Z in a new place, hopefully-ish. Maybe even doing something else with some other characters. That would be really cool, although, again, the way this show works, that whoever comes and saves him could get killed instantly, and now it's just Citizen Z by himself again. But there is a lot of opportunity to sort of shake up the status quo and move into a different type of plot for Season 3, and I really hope that's where they go. Love, love, love this season finale, and I'm going to say again how great it was to see a Scorpion, and I hope this is real. I'm going to be mad if this is a fake out, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm here to kill you all, actually." But if this is real, and he's actually had this change of heart, I can't think of another television show, and I'm sure there is one, okay, but I can't think of another show, really, where we see something like that, where we see somebody who's just pure evil come to the good, and realize what they've done, and have this sort of repentance experience, and change their lives, and actually get along and help with the good guys, and not just, "I die now because I'm the bad guy, and that's the price of redemption." To actually have him live and change his life, and get to see him, the actor who plays him is great. I love that guy. He's great as a bad guy. I think he'd be great as a good guy. Could do great things for the group dynamic. Great, great, great cliffhangers. Setting up a whole bunch of stuff for Season 3. Setting up Zona. Setting up this other military that's pinning down a group on the beach. We still have the number station we haven't resolved. It's a long road to September, you guys. But I will be here probably come around September. I'm going to be watching the show. Maybe I'll be recapping it again. You'll have to wait and see, because that's the end of Season 2 of Z Nation. Thanks for watching.